So I'm going to be signing a national emergency, and it's been signed many times before. It's been signed by other presidents. From 1977 or so, it gave the presidents the power. There's rarely been a problem. They sign it. Nobody cares. I guess they weren't very exciting, but nobody cares. They sign it for far less important things in some cases, in many cases. We're talking about an invasion of our country with drugs, with human traffickers, with all types of criminals and gangs.
So what exactly does President Trump's national emergency look like?
The property's been in the family almost 100 years. Once a week I bring my daughters. We've never had one experience where there's been any kind of emergency. I always thought that the whole concept of building a wall was ludicrous. Now I'm actually starting to worry because he's declared a national emergency. Show me the documentation, show me the history, show me the police reports or the sheriff's reports or where there's documentation of all these incidents that supposedly are happening in this area that are not. And then I'll believe it, but I've never seen it, I've never experienced it. I've seen when the river crested some years back at 42 feet, and I know the power that the river can have when it's flooding, and there's no way that any structure that's 30 feet high would be able to withstand that kind of pressure. They're going to deprive my property, 90% of its land, from having accessibility to water, and that's going to directly affect my wildlife and my domestic animals. We're going to change an ecosystem. We're gonna change the habitat of animals, and we're gonna lose a lot of animals. Most people down here do not want the wall because you're stealing and you're depriving us from our heritage. We were a community that came to this area based on what the river could provide with. And what it did was it provided life over 200 years ago to the people from this area. If this is happening to me, this is what's going to happen to all of the people along the river. We're all going to lose our legacy and our heritage based on a lie. Show me the emergency.
The Rio Grande, it's an iconic river. It's an American heritage river, and unfortunately it ranks as one of the 10 most endangered rivers in the world.
In our family, we've always had properties, ranches, and I've grown up with it, and so kind of going to the ranch is a routine that's second nature. I was approached by Border Patrol. What they wanted to do was that they wanted me to give them permission to have right-of-way of entry. And so now something that was very far away and very far-fetched started to become real.
This is deeply alarming, especially for communities like ours where the border is the river and it's our only source of drinking water, and it supplies water to 6 million people along the border. And not just that, it's an endangered and threatened river. And so to say that we're going to suspend all sorts of federal laws to build this wall to expedite construction for the election of 2020 is, well, I think it's a travesty.
At that moment when I heard that, I kind of felt very much alone because to fight the government, it's very expensive. And I'm a retired teacher on a teacher's retirement, and I make a little bit of supplemental money from the property. And my wife's also a teacher. Sometimes injustices happen because people don't have the means to be able to fight it. So to fight something that's very expensive, I didn't know if I would have the resources for it. So I was a little bit overwhelmed about being able to do it.
Although sometimes he may feel that way, Joseph's not fighting this alone. Organizations such as RISK, Earth Justice, members of the United Methodist Church, members of the Lakota tribe, and other concerned citizens from all over the U.S. have vowed to fight this battle to the very end.
And right now, even win or lose, and let's say that worst case scenario I do lose, at least I'll have the satisfaction that during the whole process I gave it my best shot to try to prevent what I would say is an injustice that's happening to our community.